afternoon, people. Well, I just got through watching Superman, James Gunn, Superman by James Gunn, second time, and to be honest, I didn't quite feel like I was watching a Superman movie. Now, there was this debate before it was actually aired, before it was, shown to the general public, people thinking, are we going to get a Superman movie or a James Gunn movie? And, the Snyder Bros were just not going to like it. Everyone had like a preconception, and with me being one of the later people making a review of it, I've obviously seen other people's reviews, and I think pretty much everyone's preconception, they got what they were expecting, pretty much for the most part. The shills and the people who got early access loved it. The people who love James Gunn's stuff, generally for the most part, his humour and whatnot, they liked it. Some of them said they had issues, but for the most part, they liked it. People were saying like the normies, the inclusion of crypto and that, a lighter tone and stuff. We're going to like it, like having the dog there and whatnot, the lighter tone, and they liked it. And then the Snyder Bros, which I don't class myself as one, but like Ryan from RK Outpost and somebody else said them say they preferred the Man of Steel. Now that had a lot of problems, but it was a more serious film. The CGI was certainly better. And for the most part, Superman is a serious character. And I think that's pretty much roundabout where I was. And then, like I say, the people who just wanted a Superman movie, not a James Gunn movie, and we got a James Gunn movie, and they didn't like it. Even the ones that like James Gunn. Yeah, I remember watching Peacemaker, and I'm going back a few years now, but I remember seeing a Doom. I don't really follow Doomcock, but I did watch one of his videos where he was on about Solo, Star Wars story, or whatever they call them, and how he said it was more annoying than, I can't remember if it was The Last Jedi or The Rise of Skywalker, whatever. Like, he said he felt like he was constantly being bit by gnats, and it, over the course of the film, like, it was worse because it was just like he'd had 2,000 like bites from a gnat, whereas comparing to whichever Star Wars movies, he said it was just obviously defensive. It was obviously not Star Wars, it was just horrible, and that was it. And that was Pacemaker to me, Peacemaker, whatever, because I did quite enjoy it. But it was that constant stupid humour that many times I felt like just giving in. Like, it really was, especially from that other character, the vigilante. And this Superman, the first time I watched it, to be honest, it's been really hot in England, and not just hot, but like a horrible, suffocating kind of, especially like my flat where I am now. It's not very well. It's an old building. It's not very well insulated. There's no sort of through draft or anything. Like if I haven't got my 3 fans that I've got on the go, like I've only put my t-shirt on just to make this video, like. But yeah, the first time I was watching it, I actually got so far in, and I got a phone call, and I basically got an offer to go to a friend's house, which was nice and cool, and have a cooked meal and stuff, and I just thought, you know what, yeah, because I've got another chance to see you. So I just left it there. And so when I saw it the second time, like I was actually quite surprised on how much I'd forgotten of the about maybe a third of the film I'd already seen. But one thing I very quickly picked up on again is this thing where Superman would be getting beat or knocked down or whatever, and then suddenly do something to get out of it. And I'm thinking, why didn't you just do that in the first place? It was really strange. He's getting sucked into a black hole, and then he calls crypto, and then he starts blowing himself out of it. Like, why didn't he do that way before, you know? And towards the end, when he's fighting Ultraman, and he lets his watch him, and he's calling out commands because he's studied him and knows all these moves and stuff. And again, he says about brain beating brawn, and then Superman calls Crypto again, who starts munching the cameras that are watching him so he can take him on. And I'm thinking, why didn't you do that 10 minutes ago? So many things like that. Like, it happens so many times. The Fortress of Solitude doesn't seem like a fortress whatsoever. It actually seems pretty unnecessary. Lex reminds me of Kylo Ren, petulant child. Just so many bizarre choices and mistakes and little things that were kind of annoying. Mr. Terrific almost being as main character as Superman himself, and one of the things about the original, like Christopher Reeves was the end, that's Superman. Clark Kent, I love the story of Clark Kent and him moving to Metropolis and how he's like leading this double life and that, whereas in this there's none of that. The little bit we saw with Guy Gardner, yeah, there was glimpses of good stuff, and I'm going to actually say a shill quote. I did by the end have a smile on my face. It was kind of fun. It just wasn't a Superman movie, or not one that I liked, and I said this in a previous video I made before I'd even seen it. Introducing these other characters and whatnot, and he flipping went with multiverses again straight away, but this time they did it on the first one. No, this should have been a second or third, and this guy here, what am I getting up there? Where's he point him out when we get to him. But it's just I don't actually know his name, but he always seems to. He was like the same in Transformers and every film. But yeah, didn't like how he handled Ultraman. Mr. Terrific, I thought he was good. Don't actually know much about him, and on that scene as well, that girl just wondering, getting saved. Yeah, it was just like after scenes happened, I didn't think, why did that happen? Well, why were they in that position? Or why didn't you do that before? And then other people have shown that clip of the people who do South Park when they say, and it shouldn't be and then, but yeah, watching this it was like, and then, and then, and then, and yeah, it is a confusing mess of what could have been a good film, it could have been a good sequel. And from my knowledge of Superman, that isn't great, but I've had some of his comics, read some of his comics. The films, I've watched the previous films and the animated series, and now this was a completely new Superman again, and like I say, I should see more Clark Kent. Lois was fine, they were all pretty fine. I was a little bit let down by Lex Luthor. I mean, everyone praised Nicholas Holt's performance. And then Crypto didn't like it, no, didn't need to be. So it's one of them, I think. I pretty much made up my mind before I watched it. And like I say, a second viewing tonight. So everything's fresh in my head. I could see where it's leading. I tried not to prejudge, but I got a James Gunn movie and not a Superman movie that I wanted. And I think everyone got out what they put in, for the most part, from all the other reviews and that I've seen. So we'll just have to. Is it Supergirl coming next? Let's just see, eh? Anyway, please like, subscribe, share, ring the bell, and all the rest of it. And hopefully, next review will be much more positive. I don't know what the next thing is, and I'm looking forward to. To be honest, I'm not really looking forward to anything. Although I did hear that Invincible, the next season, should be airing this year. Anyway, have a good one. Thanks for listening and have a good day. Population Nation out.